So please, usiweke kwa roho yako tafadhali kuwa Ramadhan ni wakati ya Qur'an. Vipi Sheikh kila sana kuja kufundisha na sisi tunataka kusoma Qur'an? Ndio ikhwani fillah, kuna maslaha ambayo ni maslaha khas inakuhusu wewe, na kuna maslaha inahusu waislamu wengi, na ile maslaha ambayo iko amma muqaddama ala almaslaha allati hiya khassa. Maslaha inahusu waislamu wengi ni bora kuliko ile maslaha inahusu wewe nafsi yako. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anasema walladhina yadhkuruna Allah qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim. Qur'an unaweza soma pale yote, unaweza soma nyumbani. Kama mimi nakukera mfano, naomba radhi zenu tafadhali, msikasirikie Ramadhani sikuharibikie. Pili, waweza soma Qur'an pale yote, waweza soma Qur'an kwa library, unaweza soma kwa boma, unaweza soma kwa gari. Tupe nafasi wale mandugu zetu inshallah, hizi siku moja chache tufundishane ilmu ya dini inshallah. Barakallahu fikum. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wa usalli wa usallimu ala al-mab'uth rahmatan lil alamin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallama tasliman kathira wa ba'd. Inshallah we'll have time for questions and answers. We'll have a short class first. Ikhwani fillah, tonight or today, after Asr today, we're talking about the voluntary fast. We are continuing the book of Siyam. There's some fasts where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it voluntary to fast. And this is something to come closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. So what are these fasts that are voluntary for you as a Muslim to fast? What are the fasts that you're disliked as a Muslim to fast? And what are the fasts that are haram for you as a Muslim to fast? This is our topic for today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit all of us in it. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, he says, Man sama yawman fi sabilillah ba'da wajhahu anin nari sab'ina kharifa. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, he says, whoever fasts 70 years, whoever fasts, man sama yawman fi sabilillah, whoever fasts one day for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep their face from the hellfire a distance of 70 years. The one who fasts a voluntary fast, ikhwani fillah, on the day of judgment, he shall be called from a special gate, the gate of Ar-Rayyan. And this is only the people who fast who will be entering through this gate. Ikhwani fillah, a question we mentioned previously, on the day of judgment, the gate of sadaqah is known as the gate of sadaqah. But the gate of fasting is not known as the gate of fasting, it is known as the gate of Ar-Rayyan. Why did the gate of Jannah change when it came to the issue of fasting? Have you understood the question? The Salah, the gate is called Salah. Sadaqah, you enter through the gate of Sadaqah. But for Sawm, you do not enter through the gate of Sawm, you enter through the gate of Ar-Rayyan. Why do you not enter from the gate of Sawm, you enter through the gate of Ar-Rayyan? Because Sawm has the meaning of denying yourself. Have you come to Jannah not to eat, not to drink, not to be with your wife? Is that the reason of Jannah? So the gate of Jannah has to have a meaning that is applicable to you. Ar-Rayyan, the Arabic language, means to quench your thirst so that you are never thirsty again. So this is one of the virtues of fasting, a voluntary fast. When are you supposed to have the intention with regards to a fast that is voluntary? For the wajib fast, you have to have your intention from the night. Otherwise, your wajib fast will not be accepted. As for the voluntary fast, you can have your intention any time of the day. You can wake up at 12 o'clock, you see your house, the wife has not made anything, and you can fast. So the voluntary fast, you can fast any time. You can put the niyyah any time. What are the types of voluntary fasts? Inshallah, I'm seeing questions coming. You can send your questions, inshallah. What are the type of voluntary fasts? There are voluntary fasts that you can fast any time for no reason. And there are fasts that you have to fast for a reason. Voluntary fast that you can fast any time. The Prophet ﷺ, one day he is in the mosque. He asks the Sahaba, Man asbaha minkum al-yawma sa'iman. Who amongst you woke up on this day fasting? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he says, I woke up. So you can fast any time of the year, any day, as long as it's not a day that is prohibited. Then there's some fasts that has a reason. It has a reason. Then these ones are divided, reasons that are monthly in nature, or yearly in nature, or weekly in nature. There are some fasts that you fast every week. There are some fasts that you fast every month. There are some fasts you fast during some periods of the year. The first one we're taking is regards to the fasting, the 6 days of Shawwal. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, من صام رمضان ثم أتبعه بست من شوال فكأنما صام الدهر. Whoever fasts Ramadan, then follows it up with the 6 days of Shawwal, it is as if they have fasted the entire year. Ramadan is 30 days. 30 days times 10, you get 300. It's equivalent to 300 days. Then the 6 days times 10, each good deed is multiplied by 10, you get another 60. So 360 days is equivalent to 1 year. Type. Question comes. I have days I have not fasted in Ramadan. The brothers, maybe they were sick, maybe they traveled. The sisters, on top of this, maybe they had their periods or they had their postnatal bleeding. They did not fast some days in Ramadan. So Shawwal has come. What should she do? Should she or he pay for the days that they've missed in Ramadan or the days of Shawwal? Understood the question? Do you fast the 6 days of Shawwal first or do you pay your Ramadan? Who says 6 days of Shawwal? Because Sunnah, wajib. You keep wajib before Sunnah. Who says 6 days of Shawwal? Who says you do Ramadan fast and Shawwal? Type. Ikhwani fillah, you take a balance. Usually, it is important for you to fast wajib over Sunnah. Your time in this world is also limited. You don't know when you're able to fast. So make sure you fast your days of Ramadan as soon as possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. That you miss some days, then you're able to. However, ikhwani fillah, also this Shawwal is limited in terms of the number of days. So if you're seeing the Shawwal is finishing and your 6 days have not fasted, of course you cannot fast the 6 days of Shawwal in Dhul Qa'dah or Dhul Hijjah. So try to fast the obligatory fast that owe to you, then the Sunnah fast if possible. If not possible, then fast your 6 days of Shawwal, then you fast your Ramadan. Type. The next question, can you combine the intention that I am fasting this day of Shawwal with the intention of Shawwal and the intention of paying back my Som? Understood the question? Can you have the niyyah of al-qadha li Ramadan, that you're paying back the days of Ramadan, and also you're getting the 6 days of Shawwal? No, you cannot combine those two intentions. You cannot combine those two intentions. The 6 days of Shawwal has a reason. The paying of Ramadan has a reason. You cannot combine two reasons in the same ibadah. We shall talk more about this. So this is the first fast. That is Sunnah that we're talking about, the 6 days of Shawwal. The second we're talking about is the 8 days of Dhul Hijjah. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, ما من أيام العمل الصالح فيهن أحب إلى الله من هذه الأيام العشر. There's no days where any good deed is best than the 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. The best days of the year are the days of Dhul Hijjah, and the best nights are the last 10 nights of Ramadan. The best days are the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, and the best nights are the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Time. From amongst the good deeds that you can definitely do is fasting. Fasting is a good deed. So you can fast it within the first 8 days of Dhul Hijjah. That is a sunnah fast for you to fast also. The 9th day of Dhul Hijjah also has a special reason that you should fast. If you're a person who is not in Hajj. If you're a person not in Hajj, you should fast the 9th day of Dhul Hijjah, because that is the day of Arafah. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, أحتسب على الله أن يكفر السنة التي قبله والسنة التي بعده. I hope from Allah Azza wa Jal that fasting this day of Arafah will expiate, will remove the sins of the previous year and the upcoming year. And this is for the person who is not in Hajj. If you're in Hajj, it is disliked for you to fast the day of Arafah. Taib, question. And it's an issue of controversy, but there should be no controversy. How is it possible, Ikhwani Fillah, that people are standing in Arafah, in Mecca, they're performing the ibadah or the day of Arafah, yet you here in Kenya, you say, my Arafah is not today, my Arafah is tomorrow. How is that possible? Maybe you can explain yourself well with having a difference of local moon and international moon when it comes to Ramadan. But when it comes to Arafah, you should fast while the people are standing on the Mount of Arafah. You should fast while the people are standing on the Mount of Arafah. The next Sawm that is also beloved, Ikhwani Fillah, is fasting the month of Muharram. Muharram, the Prophet ﷺ says, أفضل الصيام بعد رمضان صيام الشهر الله المحرم. Rawah Muslim. He says that the best fast for you, O Muslim, to fast after this month of Ramadan is which month? The month of Muharram. طيب. Fasting the day of Ashura, the 10th of Muharram. It is also recommended, Ikhwani Fillah, that we fast the 10th of Muharram. That is a voluntary fast. The Prophet ﷺ says, if I'm alive next year, I will also fast the 9th. So the best thing, Ikhwani Fillah, with regards to Ashura is to either fast day 9 and 10 or day 10 and 11. The second option, fasting only day 10. As for the opinion that says fast day 9, 10 and 11, that is a weak opinion because the hadith is not authentic. The hadith is not authentic. Yes, some great scholars like Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah and Al-Hajar al-Asqalani have mentioned that you should fast the 3 days, but this is not authentic. So you should fast 9 and 10 is the best, in all honesty. Type. Fasting, which month? The majority. Question, which month was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam fasting most of it? Except Ramadan. Sha'ban. Mumtaz. So the Prophet ﷺ from the Sunnah is to fast most of the month of Sha'ban. Question, is it allowed for you as a Muslim to specifically fast the 15th day of Sha'ban because of the hadiths that are narrated regarding the 15th of Sha'ban? Is it good, or is it from the list that you have here of the voluntary fasts to fast the 15th of Sha'ban? Almost every single hadith with regards to the 15th of Sha'ban is a weak or fabricated hadith. You taking the 9th of, or the day of 15th for fasting and the 9th of 15th to fast, that is an innovation. That hadith is not authentic. When it reaches the 15th, Ikhwani Fillah, you should stop fasting, the voluntary fasts, if it was not your regular habit to fast them. But if it's a regular habit, continuing with the way that you used to fast before. The next fast, Ikhwani Fillah, is fasting the day of Monday and Thursday. This is a weekly fast. And this is when our deeds are presented to Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet ﷺ was asked, why do you fast these days? He says, these are the days my deeds are presented to Allah Azza wa Jal, and I love for my deeds to be presented to Allah Azza wa Jal while I'm fasting. Fasting 3 days every month. The Prophet ﷺ, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, says, Awsani Khalili bithalath. My best friend, the Prophet ﷺ, advised me to do 3 things. And this advice you should all take. Advice number 1 is that you pray the Salatul Duha. Advice number 2 that the Prophet gave Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu is that you do not sleep until you have prayed your witri prayer. And advice number 3 is that you fast 3 days in every month. Choose any 3 days. There is not a must for you to follow 13, 14, 15. Fast any 3 days. If you wish, you can fast the white days, which is day 13, 14, 15 of the month. Question, why is it called the white days? Inshallah, tuuliza swali baadaye. Why is it called the white days? Why is it called Ayamul Bid? Why are the white days called the white days? Sheikh, there's maybe 500 people in the mosque. I think someone can answer Hamza now. The moon is white. Type. He's correct. The moon is at its brightest or its fullest in the middle of the month. The moon at the beginning of the month gets born. It continues adding in size. It becomes fullest in the middle of the month. Then it starts reducing until it becomes small again. Are you together? So the moon is at its fullest at this time. This is also a time for you to fast. It's recommended for you to fast. Also another sunnah, ikhwani fillah, is the best fast of sunnah. Which is the best fast of sunnah? Of which prophet? Which prophet had the best system of fasting of all the prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal? The Prophet Dawud alayhi salam. كان يصوم يوما ويفطر يوما. Fasting one day and living one day. So after Ramadan, alhamdulillah, our bodies are used to it. Let us try that challenge on the 2nd of Shawwal or 3rd of Shawwal. Start fasting one day and live one day. It's possible to have trained our bodies also. For benefit, ikhwani fillah, it is good, yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Sari'u. Allah says, Sabiqu. But it is recommended, do not rush so much with regards to starting your 6 days of Shawwal. Shawwal, Eid was yesterday, you're starting your Shawwal today, it's okay, no harm. But better to delay it a little bit. Why? Yet the Quran says, Sabiqu, Sari'u. Sheikh, you're conflicting the Quran. What's the answer? Why should you delay your Shawwal at least a few days after the Eid? Because you have families, you have friends, you have companions, you have neighbors to visit. Are you together? And you go to visit your neighbor or your relative on the 2nd day of Shawwal and they bring for you something and you say you're fasting. Just for their hearts, do not fast. Start your fast about 3 days, 4 days after. But you know yourself better. If you know that if I don't fast from day 2, I will not be able to fast, then fast. But the best way is wait a little bit more so that you fast thereafter. That is just for benefit. So option number 1, you can fast one day and leave another day. Another option, and this is a sunnah that most people do not know, is that you can fast one day and break your fast for 2 days. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhuma, one of the Abadila, he used to fast every single day and pray the night prayer every night, the entire night. The Prophet ﷺ says to him, you should fast 10 days in a month. He says, I'm able to do more. He says, fast 7 days. He says, I'm able to do more. He says, fast 3 days and do not add, fast 1 day and break your fast 2 days. He says, I'm able to do more than that. He says, then the best for you is to fast the Psalm of Dawood. 1 day you fast and 1 day you break your fast. Do not fast every single day. So from the hadith, it's mentioned clearly that another sunnah you can do is fast 1 day and you eat 2 days. So in a month you fast how many days? In a month it has 30 days. If you fast 1 day and you break 2 days, in that month you'll have fasted how many days? 10 days. You'll have fasted 10 days, a third of the month, and you'll have broken your fast 2/3 of the month. That is also a sunnah fast that you can fast. What is the ruling of someone who fasts every single day apart from the days that is haram to fast? You have many scholars in Islamic history. You have someone like Imam Abu Zakaria, Yahya ibn Sharaf al-Nawawi rahimahullah. He used to fast every single day. You have one of the scholars in our century is called Fuad ibn Abdul Baqi, the one who compiled the Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari and published it. The first one who published it, he used to fast every single day. This is not correct. Prophet ﷺ, he said to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, the one who fasts every day, it's as if they have not fasted anything at all. So it's not allowed for you to fast every single day, because that will change from an act of ibadah, it will become aada. It will become like something that you have cultured yourself or you're used to. So do not fast every single day. Fast some days, and some days you eat. Also, if you're in Hajj, the day of Arafah, do not fast. It is disliked for you to fast on the day of Arafah. So number 1, disliked for you to fast every single day. Number 2, it's also disliked for you to fast on the day of Arafah. Number 3, to fast on Friday is also disliked. that is the Eid of the week. It is disliked for you to fast on Friday unless you fasted the day before or the day after. Or it was your timetable of fasting one day and breaking your fast another day. Definitely it will fall on a Friday, then you can fast therein. For example, if you fast one day and break your fast every day, you fasted Monday, then Wednesday, of course you'll have to fast which day? You fasted Monday, Wednesday, of course you'll fast what day? Friday, then Sunday, then Tuesday, then Thursday. Of course from one of these days it will be a Friday. But you specifying yourself that you're going to fast on Friday, that is not allowed. Also fasting Saturday, according to the scholars, they say also fasting Saturday by itself is disliked. However, some of the scholars even went a step ahead and said, even if it is Ashura or Arafah, fasting on a Saturday is not allowed. This opinion is a weak opinion. Although it's the opinion of Sheikh Muhammad Nasruddin al-Albani, it is a very weak opinion that the scholars rejected. So if Saturday is the day of Arafah or is the day of Ashura, you fast it. Don't listen to some people, they don't know how to understand fiqh and they spread this knowledge. That's not beneficial knowledge. If it's a Saturday and it's Ashura or Arafah, you're not fasting because it's a Saturday, you're fasting because it is Ashura or Arafah. Type. Prophet ﷺ one day entered the house of Juwayriyah, his wife, radiallahu anha, and he found her fasting. Said, why are you fasting on a Friday? Did you fast yesterday? Are you intending to fast tomorrow? She said, no. Then he said, you cannot fast a Friday by itself. You cannot fast a Friday by itself. Also disliked, Ikhwan fillah, is fasting the month of Rajab by itself. Fasting the month of Rajab by itself, or fasting the 27th day of Rajab, that is said or claimed to be the day of Isra Mi'raj, that is an innovation. The people of Jahiliyyah, they used to respect Rajab a lot and fast and make a lot of ibadah in Rajab. So some Muslims, when they became Muslim, they took over these habits that they had from Jahiliyyah and they used to fast the month of Rajab. Also this is disliked. Which fasts are haram for you as a Muslim to fast? It is haram for you to fast the days of Eid. Eid al-Fitri and Eid al-Adha. It's haram for you to fast. There's no khilaf amongst the Muslims with regards to this issue. Also, it's haram for you to fast day 11, day 12, and day 13 of the Hijjah. These are known as Ayamu at-Tashriq. You're not allowed as a Muslim to fast day 11, day 12, day 13 of the Hijjah. Those are the days of Eid, the days of eating and drinking, except for one person. Who is this one person who is allowed to fast, or one group of people who are allowed to fast day 11, day 12, and day 13 based on evidence from the Quran of Allah Azza wa Jalla? Who is allowed to fast day 11, day 12, day 13 of the Hijjah? Naam. The person? The person is Hajj. And they have not found what? They have not found a sacrificial animal. So, ثلاثة أيام في الحج وسبعة إذا رجعتم تلك عشرة كاملة. The person who has not found a sacrificial animal in Hajj and they have made the near of slaughtering, they are not able to find a sacrificial animal. They are supposed to fast 3 days in Hajj. Day 11, 12, 13 they can fast. وَسَبْعَةٍ إِذَا رَجَعْتُمْ, and 7 days when they go back to their family. تِلْكَ عَشَرَةٌ كَامِلَةٌ. Those are 10 days that they can fast. So it's haram for you as a Muslim to fast the days of Tashriq, except if you are a person in this state. طيب, يوم الشك, fasting the day of doubt. The day of doubt is which day? We mentioned this before. Not Ramadan. Which is the day of shak? What is the day of shak? Conflict of sight in the moon. What day? What's the date on the calendar? The day of shak. The 30th of Sha'ban. Someone wakes up on the 30th of Sha'ban and says, maybe they saw the moon, maybe I don't know, maybe they're not sure, let me just fast it as Ramadan just in case. It is haram for you to fast without having seen the moon. So fasting the 30th of Sha'ban without seeing the moon just because you want to be safe is haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهَرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. Whoever witnesses the moon, then they should fast. You have not witnessed the moon. Why are you fasting? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, "Sumu li ru'yati wa aftiru li ru'yati." You should fast when you see the moon, and you should break the fast when you see the moon. Type. The second question, also related to this issue we've talked before. The adhan right now of Maghrib is 6:42, for example, or 6:41. You find some mosques, they will delay the adhan to 6:50 or 6:55. Type. Why do you delay? Says just in case the sun has not set. The sun is not a creation that has moods. That today it decides to set at 6:41, tomorrow it decides to set at 6:45. It is something that you can view. Are you together? The sun has no variations with regards to that. So follow the time of the adhan, do not delay the adhan. And this issue, has a lot of effect that needs to be studied also. We have sisters, who get their periods 2 minutes before the adhan, 3 minutes before the adhan, 5 minutes before the adhan. You know this, most of you. The wife comes, or the sister, or someone tells you, I've gotten my periods. Before the adhan. You ask them, which adhan? Is it the adhan of Masjid Salaam, or is it the adhan of that other mosque? The mosque that delays 10 minutes or 15 minutes the adhan. If it's the adhan of Masjid Salaam, then your som, you have to repeat that day. Your reward is Allah Azza wa Jal. You got your periods before the time of iftar. But if you got 3 minutes before that other mosque that delays the adhan for 10 minutes, that's a different story. Your fast is authentic. Are you together? This affects other issues, zakatul fitri. So many issues related to this. This is also haram for you, to fast the day of shak. And finally, the lady who fasts without the permission of her husband, the voluntary fast. A lady must ask the husband for permission before she fasts her voluntary fast. Why? Obviously, all of you are married. Many of you are married. Why should the lady ask? Because you do not want to lose the husband's rights upon her. The husband has rights over her with regards to her being his cloth and him be the cloth. Let's talk in metaphors today. طيب. لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن. طيب. So you as a lady, when you fast, you're denying your husband this right. So you must ask your husband for permission before you fast your voluntary fast. However, if it is a voluntary fast that has a reason, like the day of Arafah, Ashura, it is understandable or it's expected that the husband will know that you're fasting that day. However, if the husband wants you when you're fasting, you should break your fast and surrender to his needs or his desires, so that he does not fall to haram. The same way he calls you to the bedroom at any time at night is the same way he calls you at any time of the day. As long as you're not in Ramadan, as long as you're not in Hajj, you should always go to your husband and you should fulfill his desires. So it's a must for a lady to ask for permission before she fasts any voluntary fasts. So Ikhwani Fillah, with this we end our lecture regarding the fasts that are voluntary for you as a Muslim to fast, the fasts that are disliked for you as a Muslim to fast, and the fasts that are prohibited for you as a Muslim to fast. Inshallah, if there are any questions, we shall answer. We'll give a time limit of 15-20 minutes. Then we can give the brothers time to continue with their Quran, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us our siyam, our qiyam, our tilawa, and all our ibadah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Ulkuna swali, naam. Salatul duha, ikhwani fillah, you can pray it any time, 20 minutes after sunset, after sunrise. It starts from the time of Ishraq. Salatul Ishraq is also Salatul Duha. Salatul Ishraq is one of the types of Salatul Duha. So a mistake people do, they wait for the sun to rise, then they start praying the Sunnah. You should wait for the sun to rise, then 20 minutes after is when you start, or 15 minutes after, you can start praying Salatul Duha. So that is the beginning time. The end time is the time of Zawal, when the sun is in the middle of the heaven, of the sky. It's usually about 12 noon, but that's not exact. So this is the time of Salatul Duha. Of course, the best time is the middle of it, about 10 a.m., when the heat is most intense, and that, may Allah subhanahu, and Allah knows best. Any other question? Yes, the Prophet ﷺ fasted only the 10th. However, his intention was, he said clearly in year 10 of the Hijra calendar, he said it clearly in year 11. He said it clearly in year 11. If I'm alive next year, I shall fast the 9th and the 10th. So the Prophet ﷺ, yes, he fasted day 10, but he had that intention that next year he'll fast day 9 and day 10 to go different from the Jews. Because also the Jews, they hold this day in great honor. It is the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Bani Israel from Fir'aun. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save also our brothers in Gaza from the Fir'aun that is there currently. So you fast day 9 and day 10. There's no harm. Hakuna shida. There's no problem. But better 9 and 10. Unaweza futuru na msikiti yoyote ambayo inafuata time exact. Hata kama adhan ni adhan. If you're sure that the adhan has been given at the correct time, you can break your fast. You can also break your fast if the adhan has not been given, if that mosque is delaying the adhan. Are you together? The same way for suhoor also. The suhoor ends with the adhan of Fajr. The suhoor ends with the adhan of Fajr, not 15 minutes before the adhan. This is a bid'ah, it's an innovation. So the adhan has been given, what time is the adhan right now? 5:20, 5:21? 5:20, 5:21. That is the end of suhoor. You find some other mosques will delay the adhan up to 5:30. Do not eat until 5:30. Some other mosques will tell you with the timetables, some other timetables will tell you stop 15 minutes or 20 minutes. No. The suhoor ends with the adhan of Fajr. The iftar starts with the adhan of Maghrib, and that adhan has to be given at the correct times. You as the muaddin, it is an amana, it's a trust upon you. Now, any other questions from the right? No. Is there any evidence of using Saudi's moon sighting in fasting? Yeah, politics type. Ikhwani fillah, there's a difference of scholars with regards to the issue of moon sighting. There's an international moon. Some scholars say you follow the international sighting. Wherever the moon is seen anywhere, be it Saudi or Egypt or Kenya, every Muslim in the world should follow that moon sighting. And there are some scholars, they say you follow the sighting of your local area. So both opinions are there. We should not have this khilaf. Type. However, an interesting question that occurred to us during this Ramadan. Elon Musk, one of the richest people, he says that we're going to Mars in the next 15, 20 years. Type. Question. When you have gone to Mars, which moon sighting are you going to follow? Are you going to follow the moon sighting of Mars, or are you going to follow the moon sighting that all the Muslims are following? It's clear, if this issue, when it comes, the scholars inshallah will change their opinion. That we as Muslims, regardless of where we are, we should follow one moon sighting. Wherever you are, you should follow one moon sighting. If you're in the moon, follow the moon sighting of the people of Earth. If you're on Mars, follow the moon sighting of the people of Earth. We do not follow Saudi because it's Saudi or we have any relation to it. We follow an international moon or a local moon sighting. The next question that they're asking, what will one do for the many months that they were baligh and they did not fast? Type. For you to have reached, for fast to be obligatory for you, from amongst the conditions is you have to have reached the stage of puberty. Puberty is known with a number of things. Number one, you have a wet dream as a boy. You have to start fasting from the day after. During the day, today for example, you have a wet dream. From tomorrow, Som is obligatory upon you. You have not fasted for whatever reason. All those days, try and estimate how much it is and fast. Every Monday and Thursday when you're fasting, keep an intention that you're fasting for those days that you did not fast. So this is the first way of knowing someone has reached puberty. The second way of knowing someone has reached puberty is that they grow hair on their private parts. So if you have hair grown on your private parts, it is obligatory for you to start your fasting. The third way for you to know that you have reached the stage of puberty is for you to reach the age of 15. The mistake majority of Muslims do is that they follow the Christian calendar and not the Muslim calendar. Your age is what the Hijri calendar says. So you're 15 based on the Hijri calendar, not the Christian calendar. If you want to follow the Christian calendar, then it's wajib for you to start fasting when you're 14 and a half years old. If you have not had these other two signs. If you have not had these other two signs, you wait until you have reached 15 on the Hijri calendar, not the Christian calendar. So many of you brothers in the mosque right now, you are cheating in your age. Most of you are 1 year older than you truly are in terms of benefit, inshallah. Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَبَلَغَ أَرْبَعِينَ سَنَةً, until you have reached the age of 40. When do you reach the age of 40? Based on which calendar? The Islamic calendar, the Hijri calendar that starts from Muharram to Dhul Hijjah. The fourth way that you know that you have reached bulugh, you have reached puberty, is for the girls. They get something known as their periods. So she gets her periods. Periods usually last for 6 to 7 days. When she takes her bath, Sawm becomes obligatory upon her. Question: how young is the youngest a girl can be when she gets her periods? 25, 12, higher, 8, higher, 9. The youngest she can be is 9. If she gets blood before this, it is not considered to be her periods. So imagine a girl who's 9 years of age, Sawm becomes obligatory upon her. She started fasting when she was 15 or 18. 15 minus 9 is 6 years, plus that 9, that's 7 years. That's mathematically, you have to not count. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Don't say 15 minus 9 is 6, it's actually 7. You have to count the first year also. So she has to fast those 7 years that she missed. 7 years times 30 is 210 days of fasting that's due upon her. The next question is it allowed for me to go with my mom to Hajj as a mahram? For the sisters, for you to travel, you must go with a mahram. However, the madhab of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah has a small interesting thing. It allows you to travel with other women as long as one of those women has a mahram. Are you together? You should never travel as a sister without a mahram. The mahram is there for your protection and your security and your safety. So you want to travel for Hajj, you don't have a mahram, travel with other sisters, but one of those sisters must have a mahram. A brother is asking, a wife has left the husband and went with another man without being divorced. Does she have the right to be given her mahar upon dissolution of the existing legal marriage? With regards to marriage, divorce, inheritance, issues of blood, it is always best to go to the qadis. You have to go to the qadis, they listen to both sides. This is an issue that is affecting two parties. It is not fair for you as a sheikh to listen to one side and not hear from the other side. So there's a difference, subhanallah, between fatwa and qada. Fatwa, we're just giving general rulings, Islamic rulings. But when it comes to something that's specifically affecting you with regards to marriage or divorce or inheritance or issue of revenge or blood, you have to go to the judge. The judge has witnesses, he has evidences to ask for, he has a lot of procedures to do. So why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refer to himself as us, yet he is only one? Allah says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. We revealed it on the night of Laylatul Qadr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to himself sometimes as us. There's two types in the Arabic language. There is us with regards to number, and there is us with regards to glory and majesty. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can refer to himself in the plural sense in the terms of majesty and his glory. It is not meaning that we have many, more than one God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can refer to himself. Even the kings, they say, we have decided as our government to implement this policy. We is him himself as the king who has decided that policy. So you as a king or a leader from majesty, you can refer to yourself in the plural sense. Says, can you use the adhan on the mobile phone app if you're somewhere else, there's no mosque? Good question. Yes, but you have to be sure that the app is a trustworthy app. What we have seen, Fillah, and for us to all have knowledge, many of these apps are owned by non-Muslims. And more specifically, the Israelis. The Jews have a hand in many of these apps that are Quran apps or Adhan apps. They're not people to be trusted. But many of these apps, they're correct. So check your app with the Adhan of the mosque. If it is always correct, then you can follow your app. And better yet, Fillah, you have eyes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Look, has the sun set? Break your fast. Has the sun set? Break your fast. That is even much better. Are you allowed to perform Hajj if you have a debt that you're paying? This is a question that I asked every year. Are you allowed to perform Hajj? Unaweza enda Hajj na kuna deni watu? Who says yes, you can perform Hajj and you have people's debt? Who says no, you cannot perform Hajj? You have to find a balance. Some debts are spread over a long period. Some debts you have to pay immediately. The right of that person is greater than your right to perform the Hajj. Pay off the debt of that person. But if you go and decide to perform your Hajj yet you have a debt, that does not mean that your Hajj is rejected. It does not mean that your Hajj is rejected. Maybe the reward has been reduced. So you're allowed to perform the Hajj, yet you have a debt. A mistake, Fillah, that many of us do in our times is the Muslims, or many of the Muslims, are no longer as trustworthy as before. There's no point of you taking my money, running away with my money. I call you 1,000 times, you don't pay my money. Then the day that you die, your family comes, asks me for forgiveness. Why? It is my right. I've given you money. You've come, you've asked me. And subhanAllah, some people come, they cry, they talk a lot of stories. The time you give them that money, you not see them again. So they say if you want to know the character of someone, travel with them, or live with them, or give them a debt. You give someone pesa ni kukosana. Heri usimpatie hata hiyo pesa. So be very careful with this issue of debt. The shaheed does not enter Jannah if he has a single debt left. Now, any other questions? Any other questions? It's 5:15, inshallah. We can continue with our Quran. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Peace begins with a smile. At the Salaam High School, we believe that a better future lies where students can learn themselves and be happy with each other. At the Salaam High School, academic subjects and extracurricular activities complement each other to develop socially and spiritually skilled, healthier students. The school offers both 844 and IGCSE curriculum and has modern ICT and science laboratories that give students the opportunity to understand theories and concepts by performing scientific experiments on their own. They enjoy a full Islamic environment at the Masjid every day. At Salaam, we nurture well-balanced boys who will be ambassadors for Islam and its high moral values. The Salaam High School, excellence in education within a cultivating, caring and secure Islamic environment.
Your presence online can get your business new clients. At Crablinks, our main goal is to help your business grow. We passionately do this through website design, brand identity, photography, digital marketing, networking, CCTV installation, and IT security training. Contact us today on +254 712 972 727 or email us on info@crablinks.co.ke. For more information, visit our website www.crablinks.co.ke. At Crablinks, we believe in upholding the good faith our clients have in us.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
إن الحجاب فريضة من ربنا المنان يا أختنا بالله لا.
Sister to sister, where we discuss issues that affect the Muslim sisters around us. So today on my right we have
Munira Hassan, counseling psychologist.
Barakallahu Fiq, and on the left we have
Nadira Abdurrahman. I study Islam and I also teach it.
yeah, and I am Ifat Omar, and today's discussion is going to be around the niqab. So is it taken seriously? How is it perceived by those who wear it, those who don't? How is it used? All that kind of stuff. So there's an incident actually. So I was on a Zoom class, and then for the purpose of marketing the class, the host and the facilitators were like, okay guys, everybody put on your camera so we can take a photo of everyone that was there. And I didn't switch on my camera, and then I was like, can you kindly switch on your... So I was like, there's no sense in switching on the camera because what you see as the screensaver is probably going to be the same. And majority of the people who were on the class were not actually Muslims, so they're not very versed with the niqab, but alhamdulillah they were very accommodating of the situation. It actually turned out to be a joke for most of the times. Yeah, so you see, like, I find it's, and then the obvious question happened because the class was at night, and was, do you sleep in that? Do you ever get like questions like that, you know, those?
The main question that I get, which is where the root question of women, Muslim women are oppressed and they are forced to wear this by their husband comes from is, are you married? And when I say, why do you ask? They say, because you're covering your face and the way, and I don't know how they get that information, but they say, what I know is married women are to cover their faces, whereas the unmarried women are allowed to just expose their faces. And a very important note to the people who believe this way and us ourselves to remind ourselves is the niqab is not something that there's no third party. We do not do it for the sake of another person. Rather, it's something between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. We wear it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Imagine this heat and the way it's perceived and the way it attracts so much harassment. Do you think a woman or a person in general would be able to be patient with all of that just for another human? There will be a point where they will think, you know what, enough is enough. But when Allah Azza wa Jal is in the picture and we know how great Allah Azza wa Jal is, what is it called? The need and the love to do more and to sacrifice more is also going to be great, because who is it for? Allah Azza wa Jal, the greatest. So a very big misconception is that Muslim women dress this way or cover their face or this because of their husbands, because of their fathers, because of this. But what the people need to understand that this is to strengthen our relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal, and we think by going that extra mile, that is what I am able, and if it's going to contribute to my relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal, then so be it. So it's something between our God and us, a great sacrifice for the greatest being.
For the greatest being, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Like, Munira, I understand you used to put on the niqab and then you decided to take it off. Like, did you have that kind of, you know, you used to put on the niqab, your friends had a specific, you know, understanding of who you are or specific question? Did you live through that answering unakulaje, unalalaje, unaoga vipi?
A lot. I remember I used to put on the niqab for 5 years. I started actually just before I left high school.
Oh, you started in high school?
I started in high school.
Why?
But alhamdulillah, my high school was females only. So tukiingia gate ndo tunatoa. And then afternoon when I'm coming back to the car is when
you put it back on.
I put it back on. Or when there's a man inside the institute, that's when we wear it again.
But you were allowed to, like, in the high school to have your niqab?
Yes, and it was an Islamic school actually.
Okay.
It inspired me to wear the niqab. So I started from
Nice.
that point, and I later joined university, came out, and I saw life generally. It's not
Put
where
up
I
a
used
ground
to
in a
come
different-
out. Yeah, it's not where I used to come out and then just enter the bus and I'll go home. No one asks me questions. Like in India, I remember there was a time nilikuwa napanda mat, and this guy was like, Mama ingia, Mama ingia.
Okay, high school.
Okay, after high school,
Okay.
just before I joined university, and I was like, okay, what's up with this guy? Yani, haoni mimi mdogo. And at the same time, I was like, okay, ya nini?
Never ask a woman her age kind of situation.
But there were so many things, so many experiences I had with it, and those were actually one of the best moments in my life, where I could just talk to myself and no one thinks that I'm crazy inside there.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that. Do you do that? Like, are you walking on and then you're having a meeting with yourself?
Yeah.
You're thinking out loud, but no one hears you.
Me, there's a time I completely forgot. Like, I lost track, so I was talking to myself, and then nikaongeza sauti. So I'm talking to myself, and everyone is looking at me like, so legit, this guy comes to me and he's like, Salaam alaikum. I think he was checking my sanity. And then that's when I noticed, like, okay, I need to tone it down a bit.
Exactly.
But when you bring the idea of wearing it in high school, like, I feel like, does everyone really understand what the niqab is about? Do you think that kuna zile misuse ambazo zinatokea? Because people use the niqab for other reasons, maybe to hide their quote-unquote sin. I don't know if that's an okay word to use at this juncture.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. I mean, even us, when I was wearing niqab, one of the comments I used to get is, oh, unaendanga club nayo? That's what I used to be told. I even had a friend in college, and she was seated beside me, and she was telling me how her neighbor uses the niqab as a means of going to club, and then akirudi anamwachia kwa nyumba yao anaenda na niqab. Exactly. Like, she used to use it in a way of, like, my father calls it like, hide me from my parents.
Hide me from my parents. And it's funny, but it's also sad, because imagine imefika extent where even the parents understand that this is a thing that happens. Everyone around us is aware within the Muslim community. Now imagine outside the Muslim community.
I understand, yes, there's some people, and I feel like they seem to be having a greater impact because of maybe the impact of their actions. There was once at home, a man was coming over. He was looking for someone at home, and what happened is, obviously I wore my niqab, and then I went to open. So he didn't understand why this girl is wearing the niqab in her house. So he told me, don't worry, it's not those people who you owe some money, it's just me. And then I said, why would you say that? And then he said, because we know usually this is worn when you're going to the market, and you don't want the people who you owe money to notice you or anything. So it's just for the sake of hiding yourself from people who you have some of the rights from them. And I just explained to him that that is not the main purpose. Some people might use it, and we understand where it comes from, but that is not what everyone wears the niqab for.
Yeah, but the implication is so bad, because sasa, even if you're wearing it for the right reasons, or at least yourself, you're wearing it for the right reason, there's always going to be that person who sees you in a niqab and has this, has this opinion that you're doing it to hide from your parents, or hide from your debtors, that kind of a situation. I mean, was it like, if it's okay to delve into this, was this kind of the things that maybe drew you to removing it, or did you have some other personal reasons?
No, actually, I became sick, and I can't still wear things on my head, this area, because of, I have severe migraines. It reached chronic stage, so I had to. Now
you had to give it up.
I had to give it up. However, when I gave it up is when I saw the real faces of people.
Okay, that's interesting, given you were the one hiding your face.
The real faces, because when you wear niqab, we are all friends, right?
Yeah.
But when somebody comes out of the group and becomes different, now is when other people, you see how they will react.
Okay, like all of your friends used to wear niqab?
Actually, majority of my friends used to wear niqab, and for me, friendship is kind of yani, I took it serious. And I used to tell myself, oh, my friends will always support me. My friends are there as long as I'm not doing something out of the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know at that time, even they can slap me and bring me into my senses. They have the right. However, this time is when I got to know people who backbite behind you.
So you're stigmatized for removing it.
There was so much stigma, and I was like, I never expected that. I was never expecting. And the fact is, like, they saw me suffering. You see?
Oh, as you were sick, they were aware of your condition.
I've been having migraines actually from a young age. Even my dad used to tell me, like, Abo, you know, fikiria. He had a long conversation with me. My mom, the same thing. However, I persisted. I told them, kama nitafika hiyo point ya kutoa, nitatoa. Lakini sai, let me enjoy. And I enjoyed it. However, these people, yani, the close friends I had were supposed to be people who yani, have seen the journey, have seen, like, okay, this girl is having persistent migraines, hospital to hospital, medications. I reached a point where I was taking medications for epilepsy.
Oh.
Because the migraines were too much, I could not control. My job was that of, I used to also teach. So I had like 30 students. Yeah, I had 30 students, and you know how kindergarten children are, always noisy, always you need to be there with them. So it got to a point where I was like, yeah, I had to come out of my workplace, and I had to take rests for some time. Nilifaa kuacha niqab. I needed to also study. My daily life is one of, I multitask a lot. So I may have, kila pahali. So I had to take that point. And close friends came in and they were like, you know, mbona umetoa niqab? And then one colleague I was working with came to me and she was like, I removed the niqab. And then I started an attachment at a hospital. I have multiple
as
roles.
A psychologist, you can do
as
that,
a psychologist, plus I was a HTS service provider.
What's an HTS?
HIV testing services.
Okay.
So I used to provide those services. So going to hospital, you're not supposed to wear short, long clothes. All my abayas were long, so I had to stick up to, I had to cut some of them. And then I would wear my normal hijab with it. So this lady came up to me and she was like, umevaa nini leo? It was colored.
Okay.
Umevaa nini leo? Unatoka Islamu pole pole.
Oh, because umekata buibui ama?
No, because nimevaa buibui ambaye inafika my ankle. But the major thing was it was colored.
Oh, the buibui was colored.
The buibui was colored. Okay. And I was like, you know, I never stood somewhere and just contemplated, do I go up to this person and slap them? Why come in between me and my Lord?
Okay,
there's a boundary you need to respect. My Lord, my things are not your concern. You know?
Okay.
As long as I'm wearing my full hijab, you have no say in that.
Okay.
That's what I know. And you don't come with your own opinions to me without thinking about what you're going to say. Because I was also hurting. Exactly.
Like, and probably, because I mean, just because it's colored, I mean, was it like, are we talking about, you know, shouting pink and red? Like, should that even be an issue?
This is an issue that is a debate between the ulama, because one of the conditions of the hijab is that it should not attract attention. And they believe there are certain colors and certain patterns that automatically, when the person walks up, it will catch their eye. And then there are certain environments as well. There are certain environments where colored clothes are not very common. Therefore, you're definitely going to stand out. And then there is the other side that says no, it's completely permissible, but as Muslims, we should remember that we remember not to cross the limits. Even when you're wearing colored clothes, and you have to think to yourself, what is this color? Is it too shouting? Is it fulfilling the purpose of hijab? if like there are certain colors like brown come now, like navy blue, and these colors are colors that do not attract attention, and then there are other colors as well. So you just yourself, you look in front of the mirror, because there are conditions that have been placed. No specific hijab has been placed. There is no ulama that have said this is how your hijab needs to be tailored, but there are 8 conditions that have been placed. So as a Muslimah, you stand in front of the mirror before you leave the house and try to mentally tick each condition. Does it fulfill this condition? Does it fulfill this condition? While being honest with yourself. If it fits, falillah alhamd. If not, you reevaluate and rethink what you're wearing.
On that note, going into the idea of scholars, we're going to take a short break, and then after that we're going to see if is the niqab, does it fall under sunnah, does it fall under wajib, and whatnot. Stay tuned.
Experience the freedom of flying with Freedom Airlines. Freedom Airlines, expand your horizons.
Kifaru ina unga iliyo safi kabisa kwa mapishi ya aina yote. Unga wa kifaru ngano inapendeza kwa mapishi kama chapati, kaimati, mahamri na samosa. Kifaru ina pia unga wa ugali na uji. Unga wa kifaru ina vipimo tofauti. Kuna ya kilo 1, kilo 2 na pia kilo 5. Kifaru ni ya nguvu na utaipata kwa bei nafuu. Alpha Grain Millers, kila siku ni siku kuu.
Welcome back to our show, Sister to Sister. So, Nadira, you were saying something before we left.
I wanted to mention 2 things that I kept on thinking throughout when she was narrating her story to us, which is, the first thing is the way the friends might have reacted, and it's very normal. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى, help each other and aid each other in goodness and taqwa. And perhaps, let's come from a husn dhanni, they were wishing for that. They thought that she had the potential, so she was on a certain level, and then and they wanted. But the way they went about it was, the intention might have been right, but the way they went about it wasn't.
I don't think I completely agree with that, because, not to dissect the situation, but she said that they knew that she had migraines, and the issue that she was going through was her headache.
That's why I said husnul plan. We're going to have husnul plan right now here. So
we're going to give people 2 excuses. Okay, let me start giving them.
Yeah. So, but the kayfiyya and how they went about it was completely not right. And I feel like another place where this is stemming from is how sisterhood has been built right now in the Muslim community right now. There's this kind of clique where we go to each other based on how we dress. So the niqabis, you usually find the sisters wearing niqab with themselves, and the sisters who are not wearing the niqab with themselves, the sisters who are not even wearing the hijab with themselves. Forgetting that these might be things that we're different in, but there's one thing that unites us that is greater than anything in this world, which is kalimatu tawheed, la ilaha illallah, which is our servitude to Allah Azza wa Jal. At the end of the day, we are all sisters, and we are, like I said, aid each other in goodness and taqwa.
Exactly.
So that sister might be falling off in a certain particular time. You can try, if there is hope, to help her. The same way you come from the perspective, there is something that she also has that she can help you in. So sisterhood shouldn't be based, and we shouldn't be inclining towards each other based on what we're wearing. It's greater than it, which is our servitude to Allah Azza wa Jal. And I feel like maybe they kind of felt that like you're out of the clique and the niqab, because this is very common. I even don't have to remind you, sisters, when you go in the masjid, how sisters are sitting together. Rarely will you see a mixture of a sister who's not wearing a hijab, a sister who is wearing a hijab, a sister who's wearing a niqab, sitting together.
Yeah, and then there's you feel like there's that, assuming kama you're in a circle and then there are like 2 or 3 people who are wearing, say, assuming the niqab, and then there's the one who doesn't have, you kind of feel how the one not wearing it is a bit uncomfortable or tense or questioning. And then there's also this thing when you're walking on the road. Do you get this? If you're wearing a hijab and you've done your best to put it right, this is more like a joke to me. And then a sister approaches, maybe hijab yake it's a bit imeshuka. The minute they see you coming, they start fixing their hijab.
Exactly. And I feel like, again, that's a perception we all have of each other. Maybe someone told us of an experience, or we had one experience with a certain sister, and now we have painted them with all the same brush. So there's that mentality. I cannot sit with the niqabis because they're going to judge me, because they're arrogant, because they make me feel less. And then also the niqabis might have the perception that, oh, she's not going to accept our advice, she's not even willing to accept any help. No, therefore I'm not going there. So this is where it comes, inna ba'd al-dhanni ithma, as Allah told us. Assumptions, some of them are sin, because you're thinking wrong of that person. So we already have this on our own assumptions that we have created our own groups based on that assumption and not the reality. The second thing I wanted to mention is how that, again, it goes back to the kayfiyah of doing da'wah, how you do da'wah, how that woman came up to you and told you you are living Islam slowly. One thing that we have to realize is Islam is perfect, but the humans are not. The Prophet ﷺ said, كل بني آدم خطاء. Every human being is a sinner. وخير الخطائين التوابون. And the best of the sinners are those who repent to Allah Azza wa Jal. So first we recognize that this person, high chance that they're falling short somewhere. That shouldn't automatically take us to that they are slowly leaving Islam, or this. They might just be struggling, because iman increases and decreases. So how do you approach this person? Because your approach really does matter. So just prejudging that you're slowly leaving Islam, that is doing takfir and saying is a very great statement that Allah Azza wa Jal might put that person in that position themselves to show them that this is something you also are not safe from. And as we know, when a person tells another Muslim that you're going to the hellfire, Allah will admit that person to Jannah to spite this person, because who are you? Who gave you the authority to judge that? So when you are approaching someone, first do not have a prediction of their future. You're going to leave the fold of Islam. You're going to end up in the hellfire, because only Allah determines that. And the second thing is recognize that they're humans and they fall short. Therefore, approach them in a nice manner, reminding them, Ukhti, based on my knowledge, colored clothes is not permissible, and then the specific color that you chose is one that is shouting that I was able to be attracted from such and such a distance. Is there any chance that maybe next time you can prevent this, inshallah ta'ala, tone it down? May Allah bless you, may Allah ease the struggle of worshipping Him for us, and may Allah all give us the ability and strength to worship Him. I totally agree, because make dua, advise, this is the recipe, make dua for the person, advise them nicely, and then end it with another dua.